financial survival network, helping you survive and thrive in the new economy. Go to CarrieLutz.com and sign up for 30 free micro trainings on financial survival.
Great news, we've got a sponsor. This show is now brought to you by Miles Franklin. And when it comes to protecting your wealth, you know there's nothing better than gold and silver. That's what I'm buying. I hope you're doing the same. And once you make the decision to buy gold and silver, there's no better place than Miles Franklin. Look, they've been in business 22 years. And the reason I'm a customer is because when you buy, they ship. Go to milesfranklin.com or call them at 800-822-8080 to get a free quote. 1490 WGCH, this is Carrie Lutz. You're listening to the Financial Survival Network. Time for another Triple Lutz report. So my wife and I, over the weekend, we went to Home Depot. And we needed some things for the house. We were looking at new appliances because our old ones are 16 years old. And unlike the appliances that you and I grew up with that lasted a lifetime, these things are completely shot. I mean, I remember we had a Norge refrigerator. The thing was from like the early 50s. It was older than me. And the day my mother sold the house, it was still working. Now, it might have put out a lot of greenhouse gases. It might have not been the most efficiently insulated refrigerator, and I'm sure it had lots of CFCs to help destroy the ozone layer. But let me tell you something, that thing was made to last. But that's not the purpose of this Triple Lutz report. We're looking for light bulbs, and it dawned on me, hey, this is the first time I've been shopping for light bulbs since they criminalized Thomas Edison's incandescent invention. And I'm looking on the shelves and there's still some of those bulbs left. Obviously, they're allowed to sell what they have in stock. And visions were going through my head of starting an extremely profitable smuggling operation where you sell people light bulbs. And I could see like back alleys in Manhattan say, hey, you want to buy some real light bulbs? You want to buy an Edison light bulb, man? Hey, it's only $5 each. Because there's certainly a market for these bulbs. Just because the government passes an edict saying you can no longer use these bulbs does not mean that people no longer want these bulbs. And now, of course, there's a great story out which just shows the stupidity of government, the stupidity of your government, what they do, and why they are destined to failure. Because the same guys that run the post office at $1 billion a month loss, the same guys who are making your currency, your savings, worthless, who are driving you into the poorhouse and driving you and the country into bankruptcy, concocted this scheme. What they want you to do is buy an LED light bulb, which is a wonderful thing. I like LEDs. I think the technology is phenomenal, and eventually they will drop in cost and they will be so much more advantageous and so far superior to the regular incandescent bulb that the incandescent bulb will become technically obsolete and financially uncompetitive, and everyone will use LED light bulbs. Unfortunately, those morons in Congress don't understand how economics works. They don't understand how business works. They don't know what it's like to make a payroll. And they certainly don't have a clue what it's like to pay taxes because they're working for the government. So to them, they never see the money anyway. Some of them know what it's like to pay taxes, and they have trusts, and they're part of the financial elite, and they don't pay any taxes. They're like certain large corporations. They have armies of attorneys who find every single possible loophole, so they get away with paying nothing. And I'm not faulting that. I think that option should be available to all of us. It shouldn't be based upon how good a lawyer you can afford, and that's coming from an attorney. So Philips comes out with a new bulb, and I saw these bulbs there, and we're looking at them, and they're $50 a piece. And yeah, like if we stay in this house for another 25 or 30 years and the bulbs never go bad, we'll make back our money. But right now, I've got 100 light bulbs at least in my house. To change all of them is going to cost me about $5,000. What do these morons do at night? Do they just think up ways to kill the economy, to hurt people? It's nuts. As this guy at Home Depot said, Brad Paulson, who is the in charge of the light bulb category, and Home Depot is the largest U.S. seller of light bulbs, if you can imagine. This is a Cadillac product. This is a Cadillac product. That's why you have a premium on it. And I would add to that, Brad, this is a government-mandated product that nobody wants, and this is why it costs so damn much. So we're looking at the light bulbs, and the other thing that was there is they have halogen light bulbs. Halogen light bulbs, which are probably a 30, 40-year-old technology. The light that they put out is brighter. I don't believe there's any savings in a 50-watt halogen bulb as opposed to a 50-watt incandescent bulb. It doesn't appear that there is. The halogen puts out a lot of heat, much more than the incandescent. It costs about 5 times more than the incandescent bulb, maybe 8 times more. So we wound up buying a bunch of these damn GE halogen bulb for $13 a piece, and they're guaranteed to last for a year and a half, which of course you know they never do. And when was the last time you took a light bulb back to Home Depot and said, you know what? It only lasted 17 months. The guarantee said 18. Give me a new bulb. Well, of course, nobody does that. That's why the guarantee is a complete scam. So this is what we've devolved into. A country where the politicians think so little of us, they don't believe that we can make the right choices when it comes to purchasing something so basic, so simple as a light bulb. So they have to restrict our choices, point us in the quote-unquote right direction so that we will make the choices that save energy for the country. In the meantime, we've got gazillions and gazillions and trillions of feet of natural gas. The price of natural gas is going down. Are they encouraging utilities to use natural gas to build plants where the natural gas is produced? No. Instead, they're still trying to get us to consume less electricity. Obviously, they don't want us to have the air conditioning set at 72 or 68. They would have us set it at 75. And you can see that if they can tell us what light bulb we have to choose, pretty soon they're going to be telling us what temperature we have to have our air conditioning and our heating set at for the good of the country. And if you don't think that the debate between individual rights and government prerogatives, government power is relevant to you, next time you turn on a light bulb or next time you go to Home Depot and you're forced to buy a $50 LED light bulb, the next time you flush your toilet and it doesn't work to your satisfaction because the government set a limit on how much water can be flushed down a toilet anytime you push a handle, let me tell you, that argument is completely relevant. Look, while I'm on technology, I think you know by now, I love tech. Sometimes I've purchased tech for tech's sake. If it wasn't for technology, I couldn't be talking to you right now. I don't know what I'd be doing, and I don't really want to think about it either. The options are so frightening. I might be practicing law, ruining people's lives, which I did for a lot of years, or, God forbid, I might have to go out and get a job and work for somebody, although I totally believe that I'm unemployable and that if you were an employer and you were in half your right mind, you would never hire me. But that's a story for another day. So Chevy Volt, this is the car that everybody loves to hate, except me. And I don't understand it. I've gotten a little enlightenment over the past few months. I'm starting to understand why the car flopped. Bob Lutz, I call him Uncle Bob, even though we're not related. We have a bit of a relationship. We email back and forth. He was the preeminent car guy for the past 20 or 30 years. Was he perfect? No. Did he have too big a mouth at times, like yours truly? For sure. he was honest. He was authentic. He did more for the car business in the United States than probably anybody else out there. And not so much for his personal accomplishments, but for the values that he instilled while at Chrysler and then eventually at GM. Say whatever you like, these GM cars are pretty damn good now. And government motors, that's why the Volt failed. There's two reasons. He made the Volt a Chevy. Now look, Chevy has never been known for breakthrough technology. Their coolest car right now, best-selling car to my knowledge, other than trucks, is the Chevy Camaro, a very low-tech, at least on the outside, car. At first, I didn't even think you could get it with nav. It's a retro car. People don't buy Chevys to be on the bleeding edge of technology. You might get people with Cadillacs to buy it, and they'll pay extra. Maybe Buicks, I'm not sure. But Chevys, definitely not. That was the main mistake, a huge PR nightmare. So that was mistake number one. Mistake number two is when the company went bankrupt. They got bailed out by the government rather than going through a straight bankruptcy and really lowering their cost rates, their cost structure, cutting out employees. They did a lot of that, but they didn't do enough. And it was all because the administration, being pro-union, wanted to take care of the unions. They did it. So none of the retiree benefits for the unionized workers were diminished, although for the salaried workers, they were decimated. So that was number two. And then the administration's insistence that the Volt was the car of the future just tainted that vehicle. I mean, Rush Limbaugh bemoaned government motors, bemoaned the Volt, said it was an awful car. He did so much damage to it. And the fact of the matter is that car is revolutionary. If you drive less than 40 miles per day and you drive a Volt and you charge it every night in your garage, you never have to buy gas. You do have to buy it periodically to run off the old gas because gas will go stale over time. But this is an amazing car. It's purely electric. Yes, the gasoline...